Hi, everyone. I'm Gina Minardi, and I'm a licensed therapist who got fed up with therapy. This is a one-woman show about my journey of finding the spaces between non-traditional approaches of healing. What I learned is that there's no one right way to heal, and you truly are your best resource. Therapists and healers are meant to support you on your path, but they don't have all of the answers. You do. This show is about the spaces between laughter, tears, thoughts, ego, soul, messy growth, and moments of joy. It's about personal liberation, inner knowing, and the tools that get you there. I will cover topics that make many of us uncomfortable and interviewing people who are willing to go there. I've spent thousands of hours listening to human beings navigate their life story, from rehabs in Malibu to homeless shelters in East LA, and now my private practice. It has been some of the most profound, painful, and beautiful moments in my life. Thank you so much for joining me. Hi, friends. How are you today? I'm excited for this next conversation that I had with my good friend, Brad Gerlach. Brad is most well known for his career as a #1 top-rated professional surfer and has ridden some of the biggest waves around the world. At the young age of 26, after winning 5 World Tour contests, he left professional surfing to be a free surfer and to grow as a person. This is what I love and respect about Brad the most: his free spirit and the commitment to self-evolution. Working with a variety of mentors over the years, Brad has been on a journey of deepening self-awareness, working through what triggers him, and how to be an open-hearted and loving husband and father. Brad and I talk about masculine energy, feminine energy, relationships, and how he feels into things deeply to make the right decisions for himself in life. Over the last 10 years, Brad has developed a land-based systematic surf training method called Wave Key to teach people how to harness the power of each wave that they ride. Similar to martial arts, he has found the best way to improve is through visualization and to go through it all slowly. He wants to make the invisible visible, and feeling it is everything. I hope you enjoy this conversation as much as I did. Hi, Brad, and welcome to Spaces Between. How are you today?
I'm really good. I really like your artwork, the photo of you and the yellow and all that stuff. I thought it was quite stylish. And you look quite stylish today with your turtleneck.
Hey, thank you. It's actually kind of cold in LA today.
My wife had one on yesterday or day before, but the sleeveless, she had this like sleeveless one with the turtleneck, and then she's got these like 70s jeans and like, oh, she's looking so hot. So
yes,
I definitely
Anna.
like the turtleneck look. I think it looks cool.
It's definitely a thing right now. That is for sure. Yeah. So I first wanted to start with this sort of anecdote, and I think you already know this, but I really crossed paths with you before Jonas introduced you to me when you were surfing the Coldwater Classic. And my dad, I was about 15, and my dad was taking me to the contest. And I remember we pulled up in his beater little Toyota, and you were coming out next to us in the car. And I was like, oh my God, that's Brad Gerlach. He's the dude who surfed naked in Oscar, France. And I remember as a teen being sort of like struck and being embarrassed to be with my dad. And I was kind of going, oh my God. But, I bring this story up because I really think it encapsulates who you are. You're really this sort of, as long as I've known you, you're this free spirit, you do what you want, you're kind of rock and roll. And I would say the difference of you and other big wave professional surfers is that you are really kind of in touch with your soul. I don't want to say big wave surfers are not in touch with their soul, but I wanted to kind of talk to you about how you have made decisions, because I know you left the tour in 1992. Did I get that date right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yes.
And So that was a huge decision. And I think a lot of men in particular would think like, okay, I'm at the height of competing. It's kind of like a dense zone for your ego. And I talk a lot in my podcast about the difference of ego and soul and really listening to when your soul's speaking to you. So, can you kind of talk about some times in your life where you've really had to just trust in your soul and making decisions from that space?
Ooh, yeah.
It's a big one.
Well, I think I feel like because of all of the work I've done myself, I now have what I own now is my own. It's a cultivated skill in a way to feel it, and it could be anything. When I watch the news and I watch different news, I'm not right wing, left wing. I'm not any of that stuff. I just listen and I go. It feels like too much. There's too much sail behind that. Oh, that was funny. That seems true. That feels good. And all the way through to when I met my wife. And I met my wife kind of after I had been in a relationship or sort of a relationship where I fell in love with the person and it just wasn't right for them. And that means it wasn't right for me. And so it was kind of hurt. And I was like, and so what happened was I had an amazing mentor and she would say, yeah, she was close, right? But she wasn't just right. And I'm like, yeah. And she would she helped me kind of go like, so not what is the perfect woman, but how would it feel to have the perfect woman? One that'll listen to you, one that you can be vulnerable with, one that turns you on, one that stimulates you mentally, one that, sort of blows your mind. And then in the middle of it, she goes, you can have it all. And I'm like, huh? Like what? She's like, yeah, you can have it all. And I'm like, so much of your life, you hear people go, you can have your cake, but you can't eat it. Can't win them all. Can't this, can't that, can't. And she was just feel what it's like to have it all, or could you? And I just would do it a little bit. And I started to like visualize and then feel, and I was like, oh, it feels amazing. And so what ended up happening was when I met my wife, she came out of nowhere. And then we started dating and I was cavalier about it. Eventually, she fell in love with me. And then she told me that. So I spent some time with this tantric master guy, not doing anything physically to me,
Yeah.
just talking. And I asked him like 1,000 questions. I spent like probably 20 something hours over 4 sessions just going, what about this? What happens when chicks do this? What would they do? And all this stuff. And he just blew my mind. And I was like, oh my God, like, why did my dad tell me this stuff? So the main point of what he said, because I know your podcast is like an antidote, right? This is an antidote. One of the things he said was, you got to listen to every single word she says. 365, 24/7, there's no breaks. And at first I'm like, whoa, that sounds like impossible. But then I was like, actually, that's wow, because I've been on a quest to be in the moment, like, to be present. And I'm like, okay, so I can use that to be present. And he's like, yes. And if she says something that you doesn't feel right, doesn't sound right, you just ask her to repeat it. And you, excuse me, like, what do you mean by that? And his whole thing was basically, this might hit some bells for people, but to manipulate men. Okay. And a lot of men are just like, yeah, babe. Yeah. Hey, don't take away the pussy. Whatever you want, babe. Don't take it. You see it in like Wolf of Wall Street. He's like, that makes me cry with laughter. I love that part. But so I was like, wait a second, that's really harsh. Like, wait, what do you mean? What do you mean? And then I just started to go, okay, well, I'm just going to listen to what he said and then just see if it plays out or if I can recognize it somewhere. And I'm like, I see it all. And so I'm getting to this point where like my wife goes, I love you. And my old self would have been like, I love you too, but I didn't love her yet. I wasn't in love with her yet. I would say, I love you too, just because I don't want her to feel bad. But no. The other thing that this guy said was like, no lying, no cheating, no hiding. That's all little boy stuff. And women like men with balls. And if sometimes I go to imitate him because he's from the South and he's like, you be hanging out with some, and she give you some sex whenever she want, and you going, okay, and oh, can I, and then some dude come along with some balls and she's gone. You be getting friend zoned, and I'm like, fuck, I felt that before. And I'm fucking over here riding big waves. I got the biggest fucking balls. You know what I mean? Like, wait, she went with that guy? Like,
yeah.
Anyway, so when she said, I love you, I go, yeah. I didn't go like, I love you back. And I didn't go, what? I just went, yeah. And as I did it, I was like, oh, fuck. She just said, I love you. Oh, fuck. Like, I started to play out a scenario of like, well, she's going to expect me to do this. And I love you and you don't love me back. And I need about, all this stuff. Right. But I just was like, yeah, I'm just going to stay. I'm not going to lie. And then I kind of was like, I'm going to have to probably break it off because, and then it sucks. Someone's in love with you. You're not in love with them. And they're like, let's go do this. And you're like, fuck, I'm not as excited as you. And it sucks. So, and you don't want to like make that person feel shit. But what I did instead was, first of all, her reaction to it was amazing. I expected her to go, well, do you love me too? And when I went, yeah, she went, ah, and she kind of went, oh, and she cracked up at it. She was so confident. She just cracked up like as if you're not going to fall in love with me. And I was all, it worked. First of all, I felt like, wow, I feel good because I'm being me. Secondly, I was like, oh, she's not all weird now. She's like just as same as she was. Okay. Actually, that was pretty cute. She handled it well. Okay. But first I was like, how do I feel with her? I feel good. Every time I'm with her, I feel good. I feel like I can be me. I can crack jokes. I can do this. I can do that. Okay. That's good. That's good. And then I said, like, if she does anything I don't like, I mean anything, I'm going to be like, I don't like that. I don't like you doing that. I didn't sweep anything under the rug. I just went, I don't like that. And a couple things came along that I didn't like, and I just said, I don't like that. And then we talked about it, and then we got through it. And I just stood my ground, you know what I mean? And that's masculine. That's masculine. This is what I learned. You got to be mad. In my relationship before, not the one just before, but the one before that I was engaged, I ended up turning probably way more feminine because I just didn't know how to handle it all. And I'm like, that's just ridiculous. And so anyway, the thing that was so amazing was I just said, if there's something I don't like, I'm just going, hey, that doesn't work for me. I got to move on. But she handled everything really good. And then I started noticing, I'm like, oh, that was so cute. That was super cute too. Oh my God, she laughs at her own jokes. I love that. Fuck. And I started really listening. I listened to her a little laugh, and then she's very generous. And at first I was like, she's making a bunch of promises she can't keep. And she kept all of them. And then next thing you know, I'm like, God, I love you. I just was in love with her. Mm-hmm. And I haven't stopped being in love with her. If I hadn't done that work on myself, I would be replaying this, be with the person and then, and then break up and then get another one. And a lot. And from what I learned is you like, for men, it comes from the mother, and for women, it comes from the dad. And you just have to move on from it. You got to like separate, and mother comes from her dad, and then it goes, it goes like, that Malcolm Gladwell was just saying that like 400 years of like attitude goes through. And so I basically broke the pattern. I'm with my total soulmate. We fucking jam. And before this even happens, right? I'm going like, I play music, but I suck, but whatever. I love it. And it's my hobby. I don't have any delusions of grandeur, but I'm just whatever. We have similar musical tastes. And then she's like, oh, I used to be in a band. I'm like, no way, cool. And I knew she played because I had seen on her thing she played a little guitar. I'm like, oh, what's your band? Like, you have any music? She's like, yeah. She's very humble. And she's like, yeah. I'm like, oh, can I listen? She's like, yeah, sure. She puts it on. It's all, shoot, whoa. And I'm like, what are you doing? She's like, I'm playing guitar. I'm not doing a very good accent because she has an Aussie accent, but yeah, she just blew my mind with that. She used to be, and she just continued. One time we were in Italy, we were in Venice, and it was kind of late night, and she says to me, "Hey, if anything happens, don't worry about me." And I'm like, "What do you mean?" She's like, "Just I can take care of myself." And I'm like, "What?" She's like small and like, I'm like, "What do you mean?" She's like, I'm okay. But it turns out her and her sisters, like, she's Korean background. She did Taekwondo from like 5 to 14. So she's like, so she knows how to just with elbows and, I mean, she's so far from masculine. She's so feminine.
Yeah, she
But
is.
she's feminine with, like, even when we went snowboarding, she snowboards and she has this like feminine look about her snow. She's so feminine. And that was the thing that I had before, not right before, but the one right before was very feminine too. But that was after I learned from Nijama about the feminine energy and the masculine energy, and how for a heterosexual male is not attracted to the masculine energy. And a lot of women, this is not my words, a lot of women take on masculine energy because they think they need to get through life, because it's such a, whatever. But women at their most powerful are when they're in their full feminine energy, and that's what attracts the male. And I had learned along the way, like, that ex would sometimes say to me, "You fucking had sex with me," and like, it's your problem. It's your problem. It's your problem. And before I knew it, I was like, yeah, I don't know what the fuck. I'd rather watch TV. Fuck, what's my problem, right? And what I realized through learning all this stuff, that it was her energy. I didn't want to, because I felt like I had to. And it was just like her and my wife and I have no hangups, no, like, I don't use Cialis. I'm not, it's awesome because of the connected energy, because she's feminine, and because I've gone into my masculine energy. I'm open, obviously, to, I don't know if it's feminine energy, but I'm open to, like, I'm very caring. I call my friends if they're hurting. I'm like, "What's happening? Open it up." You know what I mean? I want to know, I'm not that, "Hey, fucking drink some cement," like, "Come on, harden up," Anyway, that's a long-winded answer to.
Okay, well, what I heard from you, is you deeply feel into when you make decisions, or when even you said that you loved Anna. You had to feel it viscerally in your body. And
Yeah.
also, what I heard from you is you were incredibly impacted by working both with your mentors and with the Tantra coach. Were these mentors the one that Jonas and I met when you took us over to that house? Yeah.
Yeah, the woman especially,
Okay.
she was, the man was more, his name's Elliot.
Yeah.
Elliot is more, he's a doctor like you are, and so he would explain things more. And Laura, who died suddenly like 3 or 4 months ago, yeah, amazing story with Elliot and all that stuff. Just, but she was the one that was like, "Let's get in there and just feel it." You don't need to tell me that much information. Like, when you tell you, "Oh, it's this and this, that, and this and that." She'd listen for a little bit and go, "Well, can you feel that right there? What feeling is that?" And I'm like, "Oh." And so I learned how to, like, feel, and go in there and feel, and it's a cultivated thing, and you start feeling and feeling. And then when you're using it every single day, I suppose, if you think about, if we were living in the Amazon, and we were dealing with, like, all the dangers in the Amazon, nothing with the, no modern life, just all, or we were in a Native American back in, the 16, 15, 1400s, whatever it is, your grandfather would be like, "Listen, listen, listen. There's a large animal coming. So we're going to step back over here and let it go through." Do you know what I mean? Like, and it's all this, and you're cultivating this sixth sense. And and our phones and our modern life and all that stuff is just, God, we're just designed. We're taking ourselves farther and farther and farther away, and because of consumer, because hey, they can sell you something, and then they can sell you things inside the thing, and it's like, take you away, take you away. I think you just got to use them like I don't walk around with my hammer all the time. Bang, bang, you know what I mean? I just put it down, and then when I need it, I go pick it up. That's the way to use it. But
Yeah.
that cultivating of that feeling. And so I use that. And I can't say that I'm always like on with it, because my personality takes over sometimes. I get pissed off, I get this, I get that, But when it comes to like, if I slow down enough, I usually make the right decision because of that,
It's interesting that you bring up slowing down, because I think, there's so much wisdom and skillfulness in slowing down. And I think slowing down, which is why I believe so much in meditation as well, because meditation is the space that you can actually, you're physically slowing down because you're sitting down, and then you're finding that kind of space between your thoughts, which again, what I believe opens up, as you were talking about the sixth sense, intuition, right? And or if we're to talk about third eye, or kind of like that consciousness expansion, right? Whereas most of us are, and there's so much research right now about the bombardment of information that we're all getting from phones and being on our laptops and Zooming and information and marketing, that people are totally disconnected from their intuitive self. And also there's a complete inability to do deep self work, because we're just operating at a high kind of revved up speed. I almost think about a Ferrari, and I can feel myself, you know me, I'm already like an intense woman. So when I'm getting that level, I felt it last week. I was engaged way too much with social media. I was, launching this podcast and just like da 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 da. And I literally, by the end of the week, I felt kind of sick. I felt energetically drained. I just felt zapped from it. And so I think everything that you're saying, to really feel into ourselves and to make really good, sound decisions in our life, or be really present in relationships, we have to slow down. We have to get still. And we have to find silence, And I think in some ways, going full circle back to even when you left the tour and you went free surfing, I'm sure there was a lot less noise for you. There was a lot of you just like you being with Brad, and you being with like beautiful waves that were not like pressurized contest waves. And there's something really beautiful in humans, again, making just clear decisions for themselves, from, again, going back to full circle, that soul space, that whatever we want to call it. You don't have to call it a soul, but yeah. So
yeah, I think that probably so many times I thought, oh my God, how did I even survive without this skill? Holy shit. Like one time I was living in Venice with my ex. Across the street, we had we're the landlords, and they were super nosy in our business and all this, like stuff. And I was away, and then my ex said, "Oh, the son came over, and he started cussing at me and he was really, really mean to me and all this stuff." And I was like, "What? Fucking bullshit." So when I got back in town, I actually saw the guy, and I go, "Hey." I go, don't come over and fucking and cuss and yell at my lady. Like, what are you doing? And the guy's like, "Hey, fuck you." Like, he just like went, "Hey, fuck you." And like did this, like, I was like, "What?" And so I walked right over there and went, like, we were like this close, and he was shaking and the adrenaline was there and it was just about to go down. And then I just went, "Nah, this is stupid." And I walked away from it. And I mean, he was saying all kinds of insulting things like, "I'll fucking knock you into next week." I was like, "Oh yeah." And then I walked away from it, and I was like, I said to Laura, I'm like, "Laura, how could, I mean, I got a bitch in life. I'm like, fucking, you know what I mean? I just got back from Bali. I was like, oh, surfing, and I'm fit and I feel good. And I'm laughing super hard with friends, and you know what I mean? I go, how is it that someone could just say something to me like that, and it's just fucking, I'm just like, that's dangerous.
yeah.
I'm like a fucking walking around time bomb. Like, wait a second here. That's just, I would, if I got in a fight with this guy, go to jail, blah, 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 blah. I mean, all those things. I'm like, I would just fuck everything up. I'm like, I don't want to do that. And why would I even care about this guy? Obviously this guy's got his own fucking problems. Maybe he's projecting them on me, and it has nothing to do with me. I mean, it's so crazy. And I'm like, I was just over there, and she's like, yeah. She goes, "You know what? It feels like disrespect, right?" And I go, "Yeah." And they go, does that come from one of your parents? I'm like, oh yeah. It's like, okay. So we just went in there and went in there and went in there. And I felt the disrespect over and over and over again until it started to dissolve. And then I even had somebody in the lineup like cut me off and like tell me to go somewhere else. Like I was at Topanga and someone was like, hey, fucking beat it or something like that. And my normal self would be like, fuck you, kook. Like, you know what he dropped in on me. Like, what the, you know what I mean? But then I just went, and I was like, there's the disrespect right there. I could see it from a distance. Like I could see it as its own thing rather than it going like this. And I was like, oh, okay. And I was all, and then the guy just blew away, and then the thing was gone, and then it dissipated. It was like a cloud that went and rained and then kept going. Instead of me standing under there getting all wet, going, fuck, I'm in the rain. It was amazing transformation for me. And now I'm not saying that I'm able to do that every time. People piss me off, you know what I mean? Dumb, selfish people, but what I learned was that person is there. This is a higher universal, whatever. That person is there to press your button, because when your button gets pressed, it comes up in your face. And if you're disciplined enough, you can bring it up ahead of time in a safe environment of what it's like. So like, if you think of something that really, really pisses you off, or somebody who really, really pisses you off, you can pull their face up and you can be like, okay, that makes me feel like, you know, and this is the other thing I learned, we're primal. We come from primal. So back in the day, it would be like, oh, I'll cut you right in half. You're gone, right? And we have that. No, can't cut someone in half anymore, you know. It's like, so my mentor was like, go ahead. What do you want to do? I'm like, I want to just, you know, and she's like, yeah, just do it. And after a while, you're, and then that person doesn't bother you anymore because you're like, cut that person in half, they're gone. No, but I mean, in a way, it was just incredible for me, and I did it with lots of people. Like my dad would talk and talk and talk and talk and talk and talk and talk, and I listen a lot, and I can talk, but I can listen too. So he cannot listen very well, but I can. So he would talk and talk and talk, I'd listen, and then I would say something that I wanted to share, and like I'd be like 5 words into it, and he'd be like, and he'd start again. And I'd be like, okay, bang, 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 bang. Then I'd start to say it again because it's something I wanted to share with him. And it's usually something I want to share with him that I learned along the way in life that he told me it's something I wanted. It's like a gift. I want to say, Dad, thanks for telling me this because look what I found. You know, and he wouldn't even let me do it. And sometimes I'd be like, Dad, would you shut up and just listen? What, you're not interested? You don't ask me any questions about me? You just talk about yourself, like you're not even interested in me, like, or what I found, or you know what I mean? Like I just listened to you for the last 30 minutes. Talk about yourself. Come on, right? That never worked. And he never went like, oh, you're right. Yeah, okay, yeah, shit, fuck, yeah, dang it, sorry. He just went, yeah, fucking, and he went back. And we had these times where I was like, I'm not talking to you or talking with you, or actually, I'm not letting you talk at me, to be specific. And then I just worked on him so much. I kept all the things he did to annoy me. I kept feeling it, letting it fit. What it came down to is I wanted to control him. Mm-hmm. And he could feel it on an intuitive level. So whenever I wanted to control him to listen, he'd be like, fuck you, I'm not listening. Because basically everybody resists everything. Yeah. Humans resist everything. And you're like, they do? Fuck, you're right. And so I learned how to like let go. The guy just did a full about face. Yeah. Asked me questions all the time. What's going on? I want to know what's happening. Tell me more. It was ridiculous. My mom, on the other hand, I got to do a lot of work over there.
Okay.
I didn't realize it. Mm-hmm. The whole time I did all this work on my dad, and I'm like, my mom's kind of normal. Like, you know, like I don't really know what I do now. Okay. And I just need for me to be free. Yeah. To be free. That's the whole reason for it, is to be free. And you see, like Laura would send me like a video of these. You might have seen it. These pelican, maybe they're like pelicans, and they're catching. They're like they get themselves situated, and then they catch these waves, and they're like, and you're like, why are they doing that? Because it's fun.
Yeah.
That's what we're here to do. Is we're here to have fun. We're here to learn to love, laugh, and have fun and play.
Yeah.
And I'm like, fuck, I can do that.
Yeah.
I mean, but your personality gets in the way. Mine does. Mine, I forget it. I forget it all the time. And she goes, "Yeah, that's normal too."
Yeah.
I'm like, but fuck.
Oh, but it's so interesting when you were talking. It's actually so crazy to me that you brought up that situation at Topanga, because I was, and I have many things to say to you, but, I was surfing Topanga the other day and I saw these two guys getting into it and just, fucking going off on each other. And it kills the whole vibe. Right. And not only that, and it triggered something in me. You had something that somebody personally was triggering something in you. And what I find profound when we really are committed to doing the self work, right? And really looking at our shit and really looking at, okay, what comes from my mom or what comes from my dad, and learning that sacred pause so that you don't have to let somebody, because we have triggers every day. Maybe not every day, but what my dad says is life presents you with Buddhist gems. And there are just these gems that come along and they're the most difficult, right? And it's really, and I love when my dad said this, it's learning how to shine the gem versus get into that reactive space with them where you're just sparring with, that was the old me. That was, I was angry. I sparred. I hadn't really worked on my shit. And, so I guess I want to say to you, Brad, I'm very proud. I think it's so cool. And again, one of the reasons that I wanted to interview you, because, I don't know if a lot of my listeners will, be so into the surfing community, but what is so interesting about surfing is it's supposed to be this really soulful, free, you're connected to the ocean, beautiful, fun. It's supposed to be fucking fun. And it is, right? But, it's like you go out in the ocean and you see all these kind of like walking or paddling time bombs, and people who just get so easily triggered and in their ego, they have forgotten what it is to just be in the water and to just be free and connected.
I've been one of those several times, and that in itself, I think, is the ocean is and Mother Nature, and is just it's a perfect teacher.
Yeah.
And the space that I learned, and I definitely don't always do it, is to thank that person. And I got another good story for you. So when we moved here, my wife was pregnant, and we went to, like, north of where we live it's an up and coming entrepreneurial area, but it's also an area that has a lot of bike gangs and meth and all these kind of pretty gnarly dark element. Anyway, we pulled into this sort of newer shopping kind of area, and I didn't know where we were looking for something, and I slowed down, and my wife's next to me and she's pregnant, and I slowed down, and there's a lady right here, and I rolled the window and I said, "Excuse me, do you know where the la 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 is?" And there was a person behind me going, I," like this, right? And she looked up, and I'm like, I'm sure it won't take her that long. I'm like, and I kind of just went to the guy. I'm like, 1 second, And she said, "Oh, it's over there." And I said, oh. And then the guy pulled up, and he was on a motorcycle. Like, how easy is it just to go around, right? And he pulls up on a motorcycle, the window is shut, my wife's right there, and he's like, "You fucking blah," like this whole thing. And I just looked at him and I was like, right on. I didn't, no reaction whatsoever. And when we pulled away, my wife was like, "Oh my God, my ex-husband would have went nuts on that guy." I'm like, yeah, my old self would have too. I would have went, fuck. I would have just opened up the car door and went, fucking, let's, like, I'm ready. But who is this person?
Yeah.
Do I want to be connected to this person? Are you kidding me? You get some distance and you go, that person is, their dad just died, or they're real and big time, and I want to get my beautiful life with my pregnant wife and I'm in Australia surfing. I want to get entangled in that? No way. So that work that I did with her, I guess my point is it's so worth it to work on yourself. You know what I mean? And so there's benefits, there's gains. That was a big one. That was a big one.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's huge benefits and gains. I mean, and for myself personally, I think it's one of the reasons that we're here on this planet is, to kind of learn and evolve and I mean, and have fun. Like you said, I think have fun and enjoy life. But, it's really interesting. This will kind of segue me into the next question.
Sure.
Thinking about 2020, I think this has really been the year where collectively and individually, I ask everybody who's on my podcast about this. It has forced us, right? Like it's forced us inside our houses. I don't know where you guys are. You might have a little bit more flexibility, but I think most of us have had things shift in such a, for some people it's been catastrophic, loss of jobs, deaths, starvation, and so I guess what I wanted to ask you, because I wrote a piece recently on my kind of initiation to surrender by being sick for those 6 weeks. And everything that I learned from being sick and that slowing down again and again, just facing my shit. So I think all of us are hugely facing psychological, spiritual, all of it, all the stuff with our parents, intergenerational trauma, the things that have been passed down for years and generations. We're really looking at it. So what has 2020 and this time and the pandemic and what's it brought up for you? What's it, if anything?
For one, I know I'm with the right person. I mean, seriously, like if I wasn't with the right person, I'd be going crazy. Because I just feel like this person doesn't understand me. And I'm different. I have a lot of ideas and I'm very ambitious and I'm not interested in working for other people. So I have to make my own, but yet I don't have any money to make my own. So it was like, what? I had to have the right person in my life to believe in me. And so I do. And I was able to, because we didn't travel, I was able to, I think that was probably the reason I'm able to launch my business because my life is so travel-y. My wife is so travel-y to her business, and her business was, I was helping her with her business for us to pay the bills and then doing my private coaching, but doing no advertising. I didn't want to advertise. I didn't want to sell it. I just wanted to get Wave Key finished so that I could stop talking about what it is and more talking about how to do it. I think that was pretty helpful that we didn't move around like that. And I think I've been blown away by the fact that anybody who has a different opinion is categorized as a conspiracy theorist rather than a critical thinker. And one of my favorite comedians is George Carlin. Was George Carlin. And he has a whole thing about critically thinking. And I want to say that critically thinking it's not fostered or lauded or praised. And it's so strange because it's like everybody's it's in a sense that people are like, don't say that because you're going to sway people this way. And you're belittling everybody's intelligence. Just say it. If this is what feels this way, just say it and be open to the response. Now, there's a whole bunch of people out there that are incapable of giving back information without insulting people. Mm-hmm. So, like, for instance, if someone is going to give me some information based on what I might have said, if they insult me, then it's like, well, maybe I'll read it, maybe I won't. You know what I mean? You've got to be able to craft a response without an insult. And expect that, like, possibly people haven't been paying attention to this area. It doesn't mean that they're stupid. I mean, I haven't paid attention to politics. I don't know the history. I don't know stuff. So if I ask a question and someone comes back, you idiot, it's like, hey, you know what? Why don't you come surfing with me and let me watch you deal with an impact zone? Do you think I'm going to tell you you're an idiot because you didn't understand the way the rip worked? Or is it better for me just to go, hey, just go over here, go out through this little keyhole and then see how you go. Do you know what I mean? And it's just about having more, not patience, but more compassion. Yeah. More compassion, empathy, and that kind of stuff. So, and certainly I've put my business out there, which is my teaching methods, and they are different to any other surf training thing, and it's slower, much slower. It asks you to dive down in, and you get the response of, hey, can I skip ahead, can I this is like, it's not, it's inflexible or whatever it is. It's like, well, did you read it? Did you look at it? Do you really, are you really desiring to surf better and surf longer for all this kind of stuff? And also, I know it's not for everybody. Not everybody's going to understand it, but being able to have those tools that we were talking about before, when someone says something insulting or whatever it is, I'm able to take it and go, well, is there some truth to it? If there is, that's cool. If it's just I can kind of tell when someone is got like they're coming from a jealousy point, or they're coming from some other thing, to answer your question about I'm a little bit concerned about the future, I suppose, with how mismanaged I feel. Here they got like people walking around. We got the wind coming off of the Antarctica. It's like the cleanest air you're going to find in the world, and you could get in trouble for not wearing a mask on a beach. Where you're not around anybody for miles. I think that is not, you're not trusting that people are smart enough how to, hey, I'm in close contact, I'm going to chuck a mask on, there's a bunch of people around him on the bus, I'm on what, hey, that's fine. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, I'm on a beach, or I'm there, and I've been tripping on the lack of intelligence, I suppose, intelligent leaders, the leaders, there needs to be someone that comes through at a group, that comes through that's just evolved from this, that is able to help people get through it. And it can't be Bill fucking Gates. If he has such great intentions, he shouldn't be the guy speaking, because he comes across so creepy. And he's not a doctor. Like, why listen to him? Why listen to what? He's not a doctor. Well, hey, I'm gonna go. I want to get the best board. I want to get the best board shape. So I'm going to go talk to my tech guy, because my tech guy knows how to use a computer really well. So he'll build a surfboard program. And I'm not going to go talk to like Chris Christensen, who's been shaping for 40 plus years, because he doesn't know anything about computers. I'm going to go talk to a computer guy. To me, that's what I kind of see. I want to talk to a doctor, someone who studied it for years and years and years and years. You know what I mean? So.
I think to your point, to circle back to some things that you said, I think we're all going to need to learn how to develop a lot more patience with one another, a lot more compassion, empathy, and also building emotional intelligence. Like that's something, in schools for kids, and, EQ is not really a thing, and it needs to be a thing. It needs to be a huge
survival. I think it's a survival thing. And one of the things that we talk, I'm on another podcast, but I have to be on my computer to be on the podcast. But this guy was a teacher at the Green School in Bali, and he wants to talk with me about teaching, basically. And I asked him about teaching, and he's like, I believe that as long as kids are in an environment where there's encouraged play, that reading and writing and all these types of things, they don't have to be the primary. What's important is that they're playing, and then you can be creative with that play, and there's natural math and natural, words and communication and all these types of things. And he was like, up until like 10 years old kind of thing. And, obviously you need more definition on that. And I know you need to constantly, so they're progressing and they're doing more advanced stuff. So it's challenging, and they aren't staying in stagnant and all that stuff. But one of the things we were looking forward to with our kids is taking them everywhere, because we were like, okay, we're such an eclectic group of friends of high intellect and meaning high life intellect, and having them communicate and go, oh, that person is a photographer, and that's how they, this, or she's a doctor, and oh, they do this and they do this, and then different relationships, and so they start to get their footing on the ground.
Hi, friends. I just wanted to take a quick break and thank you for tuning in. I love making this podcast for you, and I hope you love listening. If you do, the best way to show it is leaving a review, especially on Apple Podcasts. Thank you so much in advance, and now back to the show.
What's an idea or a concept or whatever you want to call it is you got your life and you got, and I've felt it. I've had bills and this and that and had just overtaken me and all these things. And then I've had my mentor teach me like, okay, we know you have all that going on.
Yeah.
But for 5 seconds, could you just feel this other thing, right? And it's almost like when I did, it was like a break from the other stuff and sort of given me like, and it was like, oh, well, if I can visualize it for 5 seconds, and then I can start visualizing for 6 seconds, and then I can, and it's not visualization, it's the actual feeling, and the feeling is real. It's not like a fake. You're using your imagination to give yourself this feeling. And so by having that feeling and that relief and all that stuff, you actually open up to this, like, I want to say it's like an infinite, because in a sense, when you look at it logically, you cannot predict the future. So what you're saying when you're saying, yeah, I got these bills, I got this, it means you're saying you're predicting your future, right? But you don't actually know. And when you want to get real cosmic about it, you look up and you go, there's the moon, and we're just going like this around on a thing, and you think you know the future, then take $1 and go to the horse races. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you really know the future that well, you don't. So you give yourself this little bit of a break, and it starts to open up this infinite possibility that actually anything is possible. Yeah. And so that part is like exciting as fuck. But, but it's not, you can't get it from somebody as a concept.
No.
Like, okay. Or like, hey, I had a friend kill himself a week and a half. It's like, ugh, and you're going like, fuck, like, other people who cannot understand it, they get angry at that person for doing it. And you cannot understand the depth of that unless you felt depression before, because depression is something that is beyond logic. And you get these people, and this happens in relationships too. Someone says, I don't feel good. And then you get the person going, well, why'd you do this? Or why'd you do that? Or why'd you do this? Or, hey, look at your car. Look at how nice your car is. Or, hey, look at all the boards you have. You should be happy. None of that sticks. None of it sticks. It's an internal. So the best thing you can do is to sit there with them and listen. If they have something to say, if they don't have something to say, you're just there. And it's almost like a person who totally knows how to swim all of a sudden doesn't know how to swim anymore. And they're drowning. I don't know why I went in that direction, but it's kind of you just have to I guess it's the concept. You can't give somebody the concept of like, hey, anything's possible. They have to feel it.
Yeah.
And the only way I know how to feel it is to use your imagination. Is what if in this present moment you had this, and this going on? How would that feel? And if you can't even feel what that would feel like, then it's going to be a lot harder to actually make it happen. But if you can feel it, even and the good part is like if you can feel it, if you can't feel it, that's okay. But maybe you can feel it just a little bit. That's good. You get a little tiny bit, and then you start to build on that. And that is like what I've done, and thankfully,
yeah. And
here I am. I got two of the cutest little kids. I'm super in love with my really hot, talented, pocket rocket wife, and we got a lot of fun going on. So
yeah, I do want to go back to that piece about your friend that you lost to suicide. First, I want to say I'm really sorry to hear that. And I have listened to so many clients this year. I mean, it will bring tears to my eyes right now. And it's interesting how we're not really talking about this in the news. There has been so much. There has been many, many, many suicides within 2020. And going back to what you're saying, you can't,
because they can't make money off people like that.
Well, exactly.
Like,
And mental health is not, it's not a priority, it's not. And yeah, because I have sat with suicidal people and people who have had plans. And the one thing that I've learned is you can never say to somebody, well, you can feel this way, or force them to believe that life is going to get better, and it's really just, it's the power of listening and being there. And then I think sometimes when somebody felt that within them, I'm not saying it saves them, but I don't quite know where I'm going with this, but
you know what though? I think what you're saying though is that in that situation, the person needs to see someone professional for
yeah,
sure. And they need to have 24-hour watch, because as soon as they're alone, they're gonna be like, see, nobody fucking cares.
yeah,
Because time is not like 15 minutes alone.
yeah,
Time is not 15 minutes to those. It's just, I felt depression before. That's why I know it is the scariest feeling I've ever felt in my life. More scary than being caught inside on a giant wave. And that's fucking scary.
yeah,
It's like scary.
yeah,
Like, and so you really need someone close by with a lifesaver that's going to come in and be there. And someone you can be vulnerable with and not have to like put up a front.
yeah, yeah.
You not be putting up a front, So,
No.
but yeah, thanks. The thing was I was going to go on his podcast. He asked me to go on his podcast about 5 or 6 months ago, and I said, yeah, absolutely, I can't wait.
Yeah.
But I need to release Wave Key first. And then as soon as I do, so I released it, then I contacted him, was like, hey, I want to go. And I noticed he put something up about going back to Hawaii, from Hawaii. And I was like, oh, hey, you going back to Hawaii? And I want to be on, I'm ready to come on, and stuff. And he and I spent a lot of time. He was an insane surfer and one of my buddies from the tour. And he also became a black belt in jiu-jitsu. And I was just going to present him with being a Wave Key master teacher, because I know that when you're helping people, prior to me being a coach, was when I felt my lowest, because I was like, what am I doing? I don't want this pro surfing thing centered around me anymore. I'm sick of talking about me. I want to like, this is just like, I don't want to be on this loop. And when I started helping, I was like, oh my God, I feel so good. And the reason I feel so good is because I'm helping somebody. So I feel good about myself because I did something good, even though I might have guilt over being an asshole over here or making a dumb decision over here, which is what I think he felt, is like he made too many mistakes. And after a while, he's like, I feel so shit. I'm a piece of shit. You know what I mean? And I felt that before too. But when you're helping people, you build up, you're building and you're building and you're building. You're like, I'm worthy. I love myself. Now I love myself because I can love myself because I'm worth loving. And so I was going to present him that he could be a master Wave Key teacher, because he's got decades of experience surfing, and then he has his martial arts background, which is Wave Key is based in martial arts. Mm-hmm. So anyway, it's just and I think there's a problem with not enough fellowship in surfing, and with the pro surfing community. It's a little bit like, yeah, you had your day. There's always a new guy, like, step away, you're not fresh anymore. We've already seen you, I'm not saying that that's out verbally out there, but that's just, there's an current that they need to fix and make it like, no, you've contributed to the sport. We value you big time. And we're going to put this thing together so that all you guys can get together. We're going to pay for all, because a lot of guys are, they spend their life surfing, not doing a career that makes a lot of abundance, you know what I mean? And anyway, I hope to be instrumental in that too. But yeah.
Yeah, and human beings not being disposable. And also, what you're saying within the surfing community, or at least what
I think
I
that happens to men, like older men, because older men, almost society wise, you got older women are like there to help with the baby and help with the thing and help with the kid, help. Older women are really helpful. Older men feel a little bit like, well, they're not working anymore. And they're just like, oh, what are they doing? Or how are they contributing? I mean, I'm not saying I'm generalizing because
yeah,
there's
yeah,
lots of helpful older men, but some guys might feel like, I'm not contributing anymore, and that's why men die sooner than women. And it's in the history. Oh, fuck, I don't know. Hey, you can't get out there and kill the beast anymore. What are you doing? You
yeah,
can't see. You
yeah,
can't see, so you can't see the beast coming. You can't hear for shit, so you can't hear the fucking beast coming. What are you good for? You know what I mean? And so it's kind of, I mean, I don't know, so I feel like mentoring is the best
yeah,
help. And if you can't see and you can't hear that well, you can tell story
yeah,
and you know
yeah,
what I mean, and give.
yeah.
So yeah, yeah.
You can connect with people's hearts and their souls, and that's what I go back to. And that's where, I don't want to beat this dead horse within the surfing community, but I see this kind of like emotional repression amongst the men in the water and women too, and if we all just kind of like opened up, and again, the mentoring and helping one another and the connection. So I think that's really, going back to the 2020 thing, what I really think is hopefully we're moving from this space of being kind of disconnected from one another, whether it's technology, fast paced life, and, many of us disliking one another. I mean, this is a large conversation to all of the systemic issues. But really going back to mentorship, love, empathy, connection, those are the most important things. So, yes. And I want to be mindful of your time, Brad. So I have a couple of really quick, just you can like bang out answers to me questions, and then I'll let you go. I'm watching time with you. Okay. So some are lighthearted, a little bit deeper. All right. But if there is one song, if you were stranded on an island and it was on repeat, what would it be?
It's going to be something off the Yellow Submarine because I've been listening to that on repeat now for 2 years maybe because my son loves it so much, and I'm not sick of it. So it might just be Yellow Submarine.
Okay, okay, Yellow Submarine. All right. List the 5 things that are really important to you in your life.
My wife, my son Zeppelin, my other son Zygmunt, my dad,
Mhm.
and let's see, that's 4, right?
Yeah.
Yep. And five would be my friends. They know who they are, and I love them so much, and I'm there for them, and they're there for me. So.
Okay. Yeah. Friends are so important. And then this one sometimes throws, actually, I'm going to ask you 2 last questions. You might have answered this a little bit earlier, but why do you think humans are here on this planet? What are we doing here?
Well, we're here to learn how to love and play, and yeah, that's pretty much it.
Okay. Okay. Very last one. This is the one that definitely trips people up, but I always like to ask people because I think it's important. So, in the country of Bhutan, which is known to be a really happy country, they contemplate their death 5 times a day. And I think within that, there's a lot of wisdom into the impermanence in life, and we never know what's going to happen. Clearly, as you and I were just talking about, with your friend, and the sort of the fragility of life. So, what do you think happens after death?
I just don't. I don't think you die.
Okay.
I just don't think you die.
Yeah.
So your shell, your shell goes, but you don't.
Okay. The energy continues on. Yeah. Okay. Sorry, that was a loaded question for us to end, but I'm always curious. Everybody gives me very different answers to it. And Thank you, Brad, for coming on
Yeah,
today.
thank you.
Yeah, and sharing all of your stories and wisdom and insights. Yes, and give my love to Anna and the kids, and I'll let you go. And hopefully, we see you guys soon.
Okay, yeah. Well, I hope we see you soon too.
Yes, yeah,
Thanks.
yeah.
I knew it would be fun.
Me too, me too. Oh, and lastly, Brad, just if you want to tell the audience, where can they find you?
Oh, I was going to say, I know this isn't necessarily a surf podcast or anything, but if you have anybody that's surfing and would like to sign up to Wave Key, I will give you a code to get a discount if you put it. We'll make the code spaces between Wave Key or something like that, and you'll 10% discount off the. It's a year. It's a year-long course. I mean, you can cancel anytime, but it takes you along a pretty by the end of the year, you'll be a way better surfer.
Okay. All right. I'll be gifting it to myself and many family members. But thank you, Brad. Go enjoy the rest of your day and see you soon.
Okay. I hope to see you sooner than soon.
Okay. Bye. Bye, Brad.
Bye.
Hi, friends. If you have been enjoying Spaces Between, please take a moment to subscribe, and leaving a review is the cherry on top. Thank you so much, and I look forward to connecting with you next week.